Hi, my name is Dell and welcome to Comic Snags. So I went to an event last weekend and I'm going to show you what I grabbed from that event in this video. But I gotta tell you, man, this event was incredible. It was almost like a mini Comic-Con. It was a comic book signing, but then it was like over, I want to say like about 60 people were there and they only had like 1 hour block in increments in order to stand in line and get signed. It was absolutely crazy, and some creators stayed until I think it was like there was like a 1 hour limit, but they stayed like 2 hours just because their line was so long. So let me get to it, but before I show those comic books that I got signed, I had to go to the LCS a couple times. I think the week before and this week, so I had to pick up some new comic books. Let me go show you those first. This is DC House of Horror #1. I picked that one up, and of course these are all cover price. The Writer #1, and this is by Josh Gad, and I got a story about that one. And so this one is the second print of All In. There you go. Yeah, so this is the second print of All In, and I believe originally this was the back cover, and this was the front cover of All In. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see it. There you go. But this is the second print. Oh, that's just a protector. Oh, I'll just leave it here. Alright, then I picked up Absolute Wonder Woman #1. I think this is Jeff DeCal variant. They only had a couple of these issues left, so I just picked it up. Then they have Absolute Batman #1, which was sort of off to the side, like one of their wall books, and I picked it up for like $15. I thought that was a decent price. And they also had this. This is Absolute Batman #1. This is the store exclusive variant. And so I think it's Things from Another World variant, and they had this on the other side, and I picked it up. It was great that I found both of these. I actually ended up paying this one separately. I think I paid, was it $20? Yeah, $20 for this one and $15 for this one. So not too bad. And then I went back to the comic book store a week after event because I heard that they had a signing there. So I picked up whatever they had, what they had signed. So this is and other comic books. So this is Negasonic Teenage Warhead #1. This is a minor key. This is actually the first appearance of Yuki, the girlfriend of Negasonic Teenage Warhead that appears in the Deadpool movies. So I was glad to pick this one up. And this is Something the Killing is Killing the Children #0. And I believe this is a minor key. This is the origin of Erica Slaughter. And Absolute Superman All In #1. I picked it up to check it out. I don't know if it's gonna be any good. I haven't even read the other ones yet. I'm just so behind in my reading. So hopefully I'll get to them soon so I could decide whether or not I want to pick up the rest of that series. All right. Now let's get on to the event stuff. Okay, so this event had like more than had about 60 people in there. And when we got there, so it started out at 10 o'clock, and I convinced my daughter to come with me because I told her that Josh Gad was going to be there. And as you saw before in the previous stack, I had a comic book by Josh Gad. It was called The Writer #1. And I ended up buying 4 copies of that because, you know, we're all Josh Gad fans in this house. And so I thought my wife would want one and my 2 daughters would want one. And so, you know, we went there. But unfortunately, he actually canceled out. And we were just kind of bummed about that. But there was other people there who were just thrilled about, you know, or I was thrilled about. So let's start off with the first one here. So this is Future State Future State Teen Titans #1. And this is signed by the writer, Tim. Is it Tim? Yeah, Tim Sheridan. And so I thought this was awesome. And so, like I said, there's like so many creators there, and a lot of them were new, and I just didn't know which comic books to buy at the time, and I decided if there's somebody new there signing, I'll just buy it at the place that it was being held at. Oh, okay, here. Let's rewind that. Okay, so it was held at this place called Revenge of, and it was in Eagle Rock, Los Angeles, like Glendale area, right around there. And I used to live around there. And so I was like, cool, that's not too far away. If there's some family, we'll just go ahead and visit family afterwards. If it's not that great. But like I said, it turned out to be a phenomenal signing. First of all, the event was free. It was free to get in, and there was like 60 writers there, 60 writers / creators there. And I was bummed because I found out later that this guy showed up, and then, I was like, oh, I should have brought that comic book, because I went through my long boxes and short boxes trying to find these comic books, and it was just kind of tough because for the last couple of years, I've been neglecting putting everything in alphabetical order. So I had to look through at least, I want to say 12 to 13 boxes trying to find the comic books that I know that I own. And so that I wanted to have signed, all the newer ones. So this one here is Future State Teen Titans, signed by Tim Sheridan. And there was Future State Teen Titans number 2, and this is a minor key. This is the first appearance of the first cover appearance of Race. What's this? Red X? Yeah, Red X. I actually liked this character when it was on the Teen Titans, and they kept it a mystery, and I haven't kept up on the comic books, but I had my suspicions on who Red X would have been. But in Teen Titans Go, or is it regular Teen Titans? I forgot which ones. The animation, Red X ended up being Robin. I don't know which Robin it is that's actually on Teen Titans Go. But it was Robin behind the mask. All right. So another person who was there was the writer of Spider-Punk, and this is Cody Zegler. I actually met this gentleman earlier, like about a month ago at LA Comic-Con. I had him sign my other Spider-Punk one, and it was this one another one I found. It was a variant, and so I had him sign this. Now thinking about the sign, dude, it was free. The event was free, and hardly anybody was charging, if anybody at all, was charging for signatures. So, and this is where I sort of frown down on the community. People were bringing boxes for these poor artists to sign. I mean, there was no limit to it. I personally only have the artist sign about maybe 3, 4, something like that. Not like a lot, but I do bring a lot of options. And so he was or I ask him, and if the line's really long, I really try to condense it for some of these people. But then, like I said, there was some famous creators there, and I saw people with boxes and having them sign 30 copies of a comic book, and I felt really bad for the people in line. And so so I only had so I only brought 2 to 3 comic books to buy, except for one of them, because I really wanted a lot of his signatures. So this is Spider-Punk number 1. And then this is The Good Asian, and this is written by, I'm gonna butcher this name for sure, Pornsak Pishote. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was written by this guy, and he was actually really nice. He actually had this hardcover of The Good Asian collected into one thing, and I think he actually sold out of it by the time I got to him in line. I was thinking of actually buying it, but then, like I said, this was early when I got all these signatures. So this is The Good Asian, and I thought this was phenomenal. And then he also gave me a freebie that he signed. This is the Horizon Experiment. Yeah, and there was actually quite a couple other people on this who was there that I didn't know of. And so you kind of have to pick and choose your lines. Next up is this one. This is The Exorcism at 1600 Pen, and this is signed by the creator. Who is this? Hannah Mae Rose. And you know what? She was awesome. She looked great. She's actually an actor. And my kid was been into that series Ghosts. We have Paramount Plus, and she was watching it, and we watched the whole season, and then I only watched a couple of episodes. But what was funny was I actually watched the episode that she was in on Ghosts, And I was like, oh wow, that's the girl from Ghost. And I told my kid that, and she was so excited. So we went there and we stood in line, and while we're in line, we noticed off in the corner she's talking to some guy, and it happens to be the main actor Jay. His name escapes me. Um, that's on Ghost. And he's just talking to her. It's like, oh wow, there's like celebs here, so that's kind of cool. So he comes around and to say goodbye to her and stuff like that. And I see him, and I just give him a quick fist bump, and I'm like, yeah, dude, love your work. And he's like, thanks. And then he goes on, and then we see Hannah Mae Rose, and we tell her, it's like, oh yeah, we just saw that episode of you, and then she was like, oh really? Oh, Jay was just here. Yeah, I just saw him. We just fist bumped. He was a great guy. And it's like, and then she started giving us like the story of like how they've been friends for a very long time, and everything like that. So I'm a really big fan of her as a person, and this is her work. This is Exorcism of 1600 Pen, and this is the exclusive cover that Revenge of was selling, and I bought this for $20, and I thought it was phenomenal. And then she also gave this, because we were actually the first people in line for her, and she gave us this one. This is the ash can of the Exorcism of 1600 Pen, and she was just giving away to the first people who showed up in her line, and then she signed it right there as well. So I was really happy to meet her. She was incredible, and she was awesome. Like I said, this event, apparently a lot of the artists were there just voluntarily. They weren't getting paid. They were just getting paid in pizza, I believe. And they showed up, and they were signing as many copies as they can, and for free. And it was unbelievable. I go to Comic-Con, and everybody's charging like $5 for like one signature. But this was a free event, and it was amazing. And so over there, we also met Jody Houser. And this is Star Wars Thrawn #1, and she's the writer for it. She has a little JH here. I actually have a couple other comic books signed by her, so I thought that was great. But then this is actually one of my favorite comic book series from the Star Wars run. I love Thrawn as a character, so I thought it was amazing to see her. And then she also signed this one too. She also writes for Stranger Things. And this is my copy that I bought before that had Babs Tarr signature on there. And then she saw that, and I told her it was signed by Babs, and she goes, oh, well, I'll just sign right next to her. So she signed right next to her, right over here, her little JH. All right, so I thought that was amazing. Of course, this is a key. This is the first solo series of Thrawn, and then this one is also a key. This is, the first Stranger Things characters, I believe. All right, perfect. And then next, I met Mark and Draco, and he is a writer. He's been around for a very long time. He created the character Manhunter for DC. I actually have a few signatures from him, but then he was there, and usually if the creators are selling their stuff on the table, I'll hop on and I'll buy them if I like their work a lot. And so this is one of his works. This is The Violator #1. He's currently writing this one. This is issue #1, which I thought was pretty cool, from the Spawnverse. And then Violator #2. I thought this was a great cover, and #3 should be coming out sometime this month, if it hasn't come out already by the time this video comes out. So, but then I also brought in a back issue that he could sign. He's actually the writer of this one. This is Castlevania: The Belmont Legacy #1. And I think I had found this at the swap meet, and I think I paid like maybe, I think like $30 for this, or 25, somewhere around there. And then when I showed it to him, he was like, man, are you sure you want me to deface your comic book? And I was like, yeah, bro, you wrote it. And it's like, dude, but then this is actually worth a lot of money. This is a good price. And he started telling me like prices on eBay and stuff like that. Well, see, I'm not a flipper. I am a collector. I do like it when artists sign their work. And, this is part of his work. So I didn't mind him go ahead and signing it, even though he was like trying to talk me out of me having him sign it, which was kind of funny. But, I was like, bro, you wrote it. Go ahead, man. You write it. Dude, I'm a big fan of your work. And so he went off and he wrote it. All right. So the next people I saw there were Patton Oswalt and Jordan Blum. And they are writers for this one here. This is MODOK Head Games. and which I believe the MODOK series appeared on Hulu, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet. But Patton Oswalt is actually he's an actor. He's done some work. He is, let me see, he was on S.H.I.E.L.D., where he played like the multiple clone character. I forgot which one, what the guy's name is. And then Jordan Bloom, I think he was a writer for Community as well, I believe. I think that's his history. But I do have a few comic books by him that I had in my long boxes. This is MODOK Head Games #1, and I had them sign it. And another MODOK Head Games #1. This is the Scotty Young cover, and they both signed it. They were actually really excited to see this cover. They said that they don't see this cover a lot, and they were so excited to sign it. And they're also the writers of Minor Threat. And so this is Minor Threat #1. This is the Mike Mignola cover. And what's exciting about Minor Threats is that it's been optioned for a TV series or film. So I'm glad I ended up finding this one in my long boxes, and they were able to sign it. And I also have cover A of it. This is the Minor Threats #1. They signed it right here, right here. All right. I don't know if you guys ever see this. Maybe I should make it closer. So the next creator I saw was Gary Dugan. So Gary Dugan, he's wrote so many comic books. I have so many stuff that he wrote, and you know, it was kind of hard to find one that I would like him to sign. But this was actually on his table, and I was like, "What is that?" And he told me what the name of it is, but then I can't even read what it says there. But then this is a rare cover. This is #5 by Frank Miller. Hold on, let me go and... Oh, I'll just show that one. Frank Miller. And let's go see what number this is. Okay, so this is #5. This is a variant. It doesn't say what the name is. Let's just pull it out. Let's check it out. All right. It's nice and minty. And this is Falling in Love on the Road to Hell, #5. So it's Falling in Love to the Road to Hell, #5. He says that this is the series he's currently working on. I may have to go into a comic book store, the LCS, and see if they actually carry this one. This is by Image, so hopefully they do. I'm gonna go check it out today after I make this video, as a matter of fact. Alright, so because I bought that one, he gave me this one. I should have asked him to sign it, but then this is actually a comic book. Scott McTiernan Halloween Party. It's a nice little foil cover. He just gave it to me. A couple other people were there. Gary Dugan was there, of course, and then Scott Koblish was there. And then Brian Posehn, he actually was not there. He couldn't make it that day. He had to cancel. So I was kind of bummed about that, because I did bring some comic books that he actually wrote. He actually co-wrote the next comic book after this with Gary Dugan. And you know, I was hoping that they would both sign it, but like I said, Brian Posehn canceled out. So Gary Dugan, I got this out of my long boxes. He also wrote Deadpool #1, and this is the first sorry, this is volume 3, I think. But then this is where Deadpool becomes part of like the fourth wall. This is where he breaks the fourth wall, this series. So I was really happy to find this one in the swap meet, I think like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, this is like from a batch of comic books I haven't even showed yet that I found at the swap meet. So I pulled this, I picked this out, and I had him sign it. Not only did he sign it, he made a little remark right there. And I thought that was kind of fun. So I'm glad to have it. I was kind of wishing that Mr. Posehn was there, but he wasn't. So yeah. So this is still great that I still have this. And then this is Deadpool #12, and this is the first cover / meeting between Deadpool 2099 and Ellie, Deadpool's daughter. And there I have Gary Dugan sign it, and I had Scott Koblish, who is the artist for this comic book, and I thought that was great. And of course, I have this one signed by Gary Dugan again, Jerry Dugan again, and Scott Koblish. This is a minor key. This is the first appearance of Deadpool 2099. So I thought this was awesome. But not only that, Scott Koblish was also doing some original art for 20 bucks. Excuse me. So 20 bucks, why not? I went off and I bought it, and it is phenomenal. This is a nice little head sketch of Deadpool by Scott Koblish, and he did it literally in like 5 minutes. It was incredible just watching him work. It was super fantastic. I was super happy when I got it, and it was worth the 20 bucks to get something like this. Usually if I see something like this, they'll charge at the store at least $50 to $60 for this. So I'm glad I got it for 20 bucks. The next creator I saw there is the writer. He actually, this is his creation. This is Philadelphia. And this is by Rodney Barnes. And so I had Philadelphia in my collection, and you know, I had him sign it. So this is where I was. He wrote a couple good things. And so I brought like, I think 6 comic books for him. And I was trying to go pick one depending on what his limit was. But he was like, dude, I'll sign them all if you want, bro. And I was literally there, the first person in his line. And there was nobody else behind me. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And so, you know, we had a really good conversation as he was signing my books. So this is Philadelphia #1, of course. Right, there's a signature. Then he's also the writer of Star Wars The Mandalorian. And so I'm a big Mandalorian fan. And so I had him sign a few books. And so this is The Mandalorian #1. This is the photo variant, and as you see, it came out beautiful with a signature there. Maybe one of these days I'll meet Pedro Pascal and have him sign the other side, and that'll be incredible. And the artist of this one as well somewhere. And so he also signed #2, and this is the. Oh, here, I'm sorry. So this is actually a key. This is the first appearance of Pedro Pascal's character, Din Djarin. I think that's his name. And of course, this is the first full appearance of Grogu. And then, oh, here's another #1. I had him sign. This is another sort of variant of it. He signed it right there. Then I had him sign #7. The Mandalorian #7, and this is the first appearance of Moff Gideon. And you know what was funny? Like when I was at LA Comic Con, I had 2 comics to choose from for the actor Giancarlo Esposito to sign, and then it was between this one and the other one that I had signed, the first cover appearance of Moff Gideon, which I thought was a better cover. And so I had him sign that one. But you know what? It'd been incredible if I actually had him sign this one, and then I would have had both of them on there. So you know what? It just happens that way, but I'm so glad I had it signed by Rodney Barnes. Oh, and then he had this one on his table, and so I decided just to go and buy it. This is a beautiful cover headshot of Ahsoka, and this is Ahsoka #1, and it's written by Rodney Barnes, and he signed it right there. And now this is actually a beautiful cover. I had to go ahead and buy it, and I think he only charged me like 20 bucks for it. So that was incredible. Then we have this one. This is Knights vs. Samurai #1, and this is signed by David Dastmalchian. And so David Dastmalchian, he was signing alongside Leah Kilpatrick, and they were actually 2 of my favorite people there to meet and talk to. They're actually so animated, they're so funny. My daughter loved both of them because you know they're really into horror, and every time they took a picture or a selfie with somebody ahead of us, they would like make like instead of the ordinary smile, they would actually have like poses, like vampire poses or monster poses or zombie poses. It was actually kind of funny, man. They're actually making me laugh near the end of this thing, and so I thought it was great. The event. And so this is he's also an actor, by the way, and she's actually a film producer slash artist. She sculpts, she does all kinds of stuff. She's actually very cool. I'm glad that she's getting into the comic book writing. Both of them seem to sort of focus on horror. So this is Knights vs. Samurai #1, and he signed it right there. And he also wrote something. It says, I think it says, "Fight to the death," right over there. So I thought that was kind of cool. And this is Headless Horseman #1. This is an anthology. And so what happens at the store Revenge of, they they actually had a lot of copies, but I believe this one got sold out. Um, and so when we met David and Leah, she didn't actually sign anything for us. I actually got this at my local LCS, Things from Another World, on City Walk, and they were there the Wednesday before that Saturday to do a signing. But unfortunately I had my shift, and so I couldn't attend. And I was like, well, I'll just see you on Saturday. So I was so bummed out that I didn't purchase this comic book from my LCS that I went back that week and I actually found a signed copy there. They had like 2 or 3 extra ones, and so I snagged it, and I thought it was phenomenal. And so this is David's signature there, and Leah Kilpatrick's signature over here. So David, by the way, is also he's actually going to play number 3 in the anime live action One Piece. So I thought that was great that I got to meet him before he actually went up in stock. Oh yeah, you know what? He's also been in what is it, Suicide Squad. He's actually Polka Dot Man. So I thought that was kind of cool. But then I like how they signed it. It's kind of like it's like part of the trees. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right. And then this one I did find at Revenge of Comic Books. This is Creature Commandos #1, and it's signed by David Dasmashian. Yeah. So of course, you know, Creature Commandos is coming up on the animation is coming up on was it Max? And so yeah, I picked it up. All right. So some of the big guns that were there. Okay, so the biggest lines were from this person. This is Mark Waid. So this is Kingdom Come #1, which is actually probably one of the greatest storylines or story arcs that I've ever read, and I've enjoyed over the years. I've read this thing countless times. My paperback, I think I had bought like 2 paperbacks previously that I just destroyed just reading it over and over again, or have lost during the moves and I see it for cheap and I buy it again. So I had mine signed by Mark Waid. If I knew he was going to be there and they were going to do countless signings, or if I knew they were going to do countless signings, I knew he was going to be there. Countless signings of comic books, I would have bought the whole stack for him to sign. So I have all 4 issues of Kingdom Come signed by Mark Waid. So I thought this was great. So I'm glad to have this one. And the other one I had him signed was this one. I have actually 2 copies of this. I have the newsstands and direct. I had him sign the direct one, and this is the first. This is a major key. This is the first appearance of Impulse. And this is signed by Mark Waid. And you know, I had a 3rd comic book for him to sign, but I pulled out the wrong comic book. And dude, you should have saw his face. He got so irritated with me. I was like, oh my god. He goes, oh, I didn't work on this one. I was like, oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I pulled out the wrong comic book, and then there's a huge line, so I didn't want to go through my backpack to try to find it. I was like, so I just went off to the side. But then, you know, he just kind of sort of brushed me off after that. After I was saying such huge praise about Kingdom Come and Impulse, and I showed him the other one, he was like, I felt so low. Anyway, let's get on with it. The one that I did show him that I did get signed by the creator was this one. Was Flashpoint #1. And this is signed by Geoff Johns right over here. And so I don't know if you guys can emphasize on why I got it all confused and why I pulled out the Flash book for years. Mark Waid was actually like the father of a lot of the Flash mythos going on. He created the Speed Force, created all these characters. It was unfortunate that I made that mistake. But then I still got Flashpoint, and that's actually another great story arcs that I love. And so I had Geoff Johns signed that one. This is Flashpoint #1. This is the first appearance of Batman, but it's his father. Is it Thomas Wayne? Yeah, Thomas Wayne. I had him sign this as well. This is Stars and Stripes #0. And he, when I showed it to him, he was like, I will sign that every time I see it 1,000,000 times. I will never say no to signing this. And I told him, like, yes, I know this has emotional value to you. This is the first appearance of Courtney. Oh, wow. Courtney. Oh, I forgot her name. But Courtney, who ends up becoming Stargirl later on. Oh, it's on the tip of it starts with a W. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I did read an article years ago saying that he actually based this character off of his sister who passed away during was it a flight airplane accident. And so I felt so emotional connected that I was like, wow, if I ever see him at a signing, I'm gonna pull out my copy of it, even though it's not in the best condition. I'm gonna have him sign it. And when he signed it, you could just see him. He was like, wow, because not a lot of people show him this one to sign, and I felt it, and so I'm glad I was able to and I told him that I read the story. And he just sort of just nodded his head in contemplation. And I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, so I'm actually glad I had this one signed by him. All right. I also had one other comic book signed by him, and this is it. This is Infinite Crisis number 5, and this is the first appearance of the Blue Beetle. This is actually a character I do enjoy. I liked the movie. I thought it was fun. And so I hope good things happen to this character. All right. So that's the last one. This is the Jim Lee cover, of course, with him on the cover. Cool. So let me go show you this one. Let me pull this away. Okay. So these last two, they're signing together. And the lines for this person wasn't very long, but the last snag was freaking, it was like a 3-hour wait or something like that, and we barely made the cutoff, but more on that later. But first, let me show you this. I have bought this one. So David Mack was there. So at my LA Comic Con experience earlier a month ago, I had bought a cover by him, and then he ended up giving me a couple prints that he signed, and we had a really good conversation, and I was looking at this book. So he had this book out there, and when I was in line, I saw him. He's like, he looked at me with recognition. It's like, yes, we met at LA Comic Con. It's like, oh, that's right. I did that cover of the Red Sonja for you. And I was like, yeah. And then I started looking. Then I gave him this one comic book to sign, and then he went off and signed it. I'll show you that comic book in a minute. But then I was looking at this, and he says, yeah, you know what? I'm selling that book for $100. And so it went down. So he was selling it for $120 at LA Comic Con, but at this event, he was selling it for $100. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. This is basically his David Mack story, as well as like the covers. Let me see. Let me try to get it all in there. Okay, so this is basically a lot of his work and his covers, and I love his watercolor work. It's phenomenal. I mean, if I had money to burn at this moment, I would totally have bought one of his original portraits slash it's not prints, I guess, like original work for sale, but they were going for like thousands of dollars. I mean, his work is phenomenal. This book in itself is phenomenal. So I'm actually glad this is actually a great storm. Simple brush. I'm actually glad I actually he showed up at this event and I bought this book. So not only does it have all his great work, he signed it and he also remarked it for me. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that was not a bad snag for $100. Now let me show you the comic book that he signed. So this gentleman is going to be the last creator I snagged signatures from, and his was a long line. And like I said, some of these people had boxes, man. They had him sign like 30 comic books, and so he was only supposed to be there for an hour, but because of the line, he went another half hour, and then he continued to another block until he had to like leave at like 3 o'clock. So he was there from, I want to say it's from 12 to 3 o'clock. So he was signing for 3 hours, and we were there. We were far. I mean, my daughter and I were far, but I wanted to meet him because he is literally like, if Stan Lee is the godfather of comic books, this is like a great uncle, because he came out with a lot of, he created a lot of things for Marvel, and that are being widely praised today or still remembered, and it'll be remembered for a very long time, his characters. Okay, here. Let me go and turn it over. So David Mack signed this, and also it is cover number 1, and this is also signed by Brian Michael Bendis, who was there. And like I said, his line was long. People had like stacks and stacks of books for him to sign, and he was just there. He was just signing. And so this was early on. So David Mack hardly had anybody there, but so I decided to get this signed by David Mack first and go jump into that 3-hour line for Brian Michael Bendis. And so while I was there and I was talking to David Mack slyly slides it over to Brian Michael Bendis and says, "Can you sign this, Brian?" And he says, "Okay, cool." And so he signs it. So there's this great signature right there. Right there. So that was awesome. And then and then I go back in line with my daughter and we wait like 2 hours. Or 2.5 hours. And we're getting close, and like the dude comes out holding the event, or one of the guys like managing the event comes out and he says that, yeah, there's only limited time. People in the back of the line, you guys might not make it, blah, blah, blah. And so, we're like, we're not leaving this line. We're going to stay. And so we stayed in that line. And it came up to, and we were getting closer and closer, inching and inching. And then like 40 minutes left, 30 minutes left, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. And we were like literally feet away from them. And we were like, oh my God, we got to make it. We got to make it. And then as soon as like, I think like 3 minutes before he's done, you know what? We got up to there and we got a couple signed books. So I actually had another signed book by him. This is Marvel Ultimate Spider-Man #1, signed by Brian Michael Bendis. Of course, the first appearance of the Ultimate Universe, Spider-Man, all of that. So this is all Brian Michael Bendis's creation. And of course, cover is being optioned right now, right? So there might be another universe that he's going to create. But I thought this was phenomenal. This pretty much started his stardom. And so I'm really glad to have him sign this one. The other one I had him sign, and I had to get it signed, was this. This is Ultimate Fallout #4. This is the second print. Yeah, second print of, or maybe third print. I don't know what it says. This says, this is a second print. Yeah. Of Ultimate Fallout #4. This is the first appearance of Miles Morales in comic books, and I actually like this cover because this actually shows him unveiling it. It's actually from the inside, and so this is sensational. He signed it, and it's funny. You can see the difference between the first half-hour signature and one of the very end signatures. You can't even see that. It's so funny. It's like such a different signature because he's just getting tired. And from what I hear, he doesn't do a lot of signings. So I'm actually glad I had a chance to meet him, to talk to him. A legend. It was so exciting. And I told my daughter that, yeah, this is all the people he created. And she was like, wow, and she was really happy. And so, yeah, so that was the event. It was called Revenge of. It's apparently this is the second year that it's happened. And I think the first year, it wasn't as big, and there wasn't a lot of, well-known creators, but this year they were able to, secure these creators. And I'm sure, if they continue to do this every year, that it's going to be, another crazy one, next year. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that, because I think I am definitely going, and I'm going to find that list and go through it and go through my long boxes, and I'm going to find me a bunch of comic books to have them signed. Well, not too much. Probably like 5 comic books. I'll make that my max instead of 3. All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. And if you are a new subscriber, or if you're a new viewer, I keep saying that. If you are a new viewer, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to watch one of my other videos, click the left side or the right side. And thank you guys so much. Oh, don't forget to like, leave comments. Let me know what you thought about this event, man. This is awesome. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you next week with a different video. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.